Hello world, coming to you from under a highway on a gray boring day in Tokyo. 30 people got attracted by the title. That's very flattering. So yeah, as you can tell, it's a pretty gray and gloomy day over here, which is kind of what it's been for. Like, it feels like this rainy season has been going on for a month or even more, like it never ends. But yeah, there's gonna be like 2 hours of no rain, so I decided to go for a little walk. Need to get some exercise. So wow, 57 people. Good afternoon. Hello Tokyo Explorer. Hello everyone. Any familiar faces around? Ah, the Hawaiian Sea. Susan. Hello, hello. Good to see you here. Oh, another one of my frequent viewers. Airbnb. I always think of Airbnb when I see your nickname. Greetings. Oh, hello, William Logan. Hi, Hawaiian Sea. So yeah, this stream is very kind of unplanned today. I just felt like I wanted to go for a walk, but I didn't want to do it alone, so I decided to invite all of you to join me. AT is asking, how long have you lived in Tokyo? I lived here since 2008, so let's take this way. That is, 12 years? Am I a local? Depends on how you define being a local. If you clarify that, then I can probably answer the question. But if the question is if I'm Japanese, then the answer is no. Did you get the unlimited data plan? No, I didn't. They turned down my application because my current residence card is expiring later this year. So they told me to apply again once I've renewed it. It seems every day is raining. Yeah, pretty much. That's rainy season. That's what rainy season is all about. What's your nationality? I'm Swedish. Is it cool now? No, it's not cool. It's actually, I think, 28 degrees and very humid. I'm already sweating, and I just got outside. Where do I live in Tokyo? I live near here. This is Tamagawa, which is just on the southern edge of Tokyo, close to Kanagawa Prefecture. Yes, very humid. The best SIM card. For traveling in Japan, I really don't know, because that changes all the time. I think there's plenty of options right now, and I don't think they're that different. Just get the one that's like cheap and has the most amount of data, and you'll probably be fine. Love the pictures you posted on Instagram from up north. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was beautiful up there. Up there was great. It was like really comfortable weather, and yeah, like very nice to get a change of environment. I mean, because of everything that's happening, I've been pretty much stuck in Tokyo since March. So this was actually the first time that I traveled a little bit further out. Yeah, Taipei is probably more humid than Tokyo, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Can I explain? Hi, big fan. Oh, thank you. StefTube, Sweden is a great country, lots of very good designers. Yeah, I guess that's true. There's quite a few prominent designers in my little humble country. and they seem to do quite well all over the world. And I mean, we have chains like IKEA and H&M, which are famous all over the world. So considering how small our country is, I think we're pretty good at, you know, spreading out and strengthening the brand of Sweden. Why does this video have lag? Probably because it's a live stream from a phone, and they are always a bit janky. So yeah, live with it or go watch some other video if it's too annoying for you. There's nothing I can do about it. Melty, are you near Futako Tamagawa? Yes, I am. I am very near Futako Tamagawa. In fact, I'm in Futako Tamagawa. And I will take a walk along a little river over here that we will get to kind of soon. Susan, I like Scandinavian architecture. Yeah? Are we good at architecture as well? I guess, maybe. I'm personally not so, like, I like nice buildings, but I don't know much about architecture. So, yeah. Ling Yin, can you speak Japanese? Yes, somewhat. Enough to get by, I guess. Not as good as it should be, which is a bit annoying sometimes, especially when I have to write business emails and I have to annoy my wife by asking her to help me all the time. But regular everyday conversations are pretty fine. Let's see, we will soon leave this big road. Did you take the JLPT exams? No, I never did that. I never really had a reason to do so because I never been like applying for a job or anything here. So yeah, I don't like taking tests just for the sake of taking a test, I guess. So let's see if we can somewhat sneakingly cross here. Let's do that. Okay. And then a little bit further this way. I really enjoy this kind of video. Find it therapeutic. Oh, thanks. That's what I'm hoping. I hope that I can, you know, share a little bit of that everyday life over here to people who are stuck elsewhere. Using phone camera, yes, using phone camera and live streaming from the phone. That's why it's a bit janky. Which city in Japan is most livable? I don't really know because I've only lived here in Tokyo, so I don't have many other points of reference, but I think most major cities here are pretty nice actually. They're like, Tokyo is maybe a bit too big and too hectic sometimes, but there's a lot of cities that are like more, should I say, more balanced in size. Like they're big enough to have everything you need, plus exciting nightlife and culture facilities and whatnot, but they're a little bit smaller, so you don't have to, you know, be on the crowded train all the time, etc. So I'm quite fond of Sendai and Sapporo. Both are cities up north from here, but I have never really lived in any of those cities, so I've only visited them very briefly, so I can't really say what the everyday life is, but they seemed really nice. And also Hiroshima is a super nice city. I would really love to live there sometime actually. Oh, hi Laura. Have you been to Ginzan Onsen? No, I don't think so. Now we're almost at this little river. I've been to a few onsens, and actually we were staying at a pretty nice one up in the north now last week when I was there for work. I was staying at a place called Tamagawa Onsen, which was very, very, very interesting. It was like very volcanic area, So you had an entire mountain where there was like steam coming out all the time, and the earth was hot, and there was like creepy sounds from small craters. It really felt like being in Mars. It was pretty cool actually. But in terms of onsen itself, like I'm not... Oh, cat! I'm not like a big onsen fan really, so... Meow. Hi! Hey! Hey! Hi! Oh, you don't love me. You do love me. Do you love me? Hi! Hi! Oh! Yeah, so I'm not like a big onsen nerd or anything. I actually prefer to take a bath in my own bathtub. I mean, onsen can be nice. It's very nice if you have like a private bath, which you can have in some places. Then I like it, but I guess it's like I don't like being surrounded by naked men. I prefer to just take a bath on my own, and yeah, that makes me more relaxed. But that being said, the onsen we did go to was very, very nice, and I think for people who are really into onsens, that place is definitely worth experiencing. The water is kind of acidic, so you get it was kind of itchy at first once you got into the water, but after a few minutes you get kind of used to it, and it's supposed to be very good for your skin, but I don't know, they say that about everything here, so I don't know how good it actually is with an acid bath, but yeah, either way, it was interesting. Yeah, like seems to a lot of you are agreeing with the privacy thing when taking a bath. I mean, I guess it's up to your preference, I guess. I mean, I know that a lot of people are really obsessed with onsen and really like it. So, and I can kind of see why they do that, but yeah, it's just not really for me. You're 5 minutes away from my house. Yeah, I live here. I live near this place as well. We should go for a coffee sometime, J Japan. Let's see, let me check what other comments I got. Did you see the Only in Japan video where he throws hot water on naked men for sort of a ritual? I saw the thumbnail and I kind of knew what the video would be like. But yeah, there's quite a few of those kind of slightly eccentric festivals or matsuri over here in Japan, especially in the rural parts. So there's a few of these kind of naked men doing things together, kind of traditional festivals. Where in Tokyo is this? This is near Futako Tamagawa in the south of Tokyo. Maybe you should try Sento instead of onsen. Well, Sento is kind of same thing. I'll be surrounded by naked men there as well, so I don't think that would make me any more relaxed actually. Oh, SepTube donated 49 PHP. Thank you very much. I have no idea how much that is, but it sounds very generous. Thank you. Yeah, actually right now the weather turned pretty nice. It was like super rainy and gloomy, but now it's kind of starting to break up a little bit. Looks humid. Yeah, it is humid. It is very humid. I'm already like soaked in sweat. Oh, it's 100 yen. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'll buy a canned coffee. Or maybe a beer. Let's see if I can find a place to have a beer this time as well. I did that last time I live streamed, and it was actually quite quite nice to just sit down and have a beer while talking to you. Let's see, any other interesting comments. Are you fluent in Nihongo? No, not fluent, but I can speak a little bit. I only lasted 15 minutes in an onsen, went when it was open, so it was empty. I was just too paranoid. Another lady will walk in. I left, changed and walked to the room, then went out around Asakusa. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. It's nice sometimes, but privacy is nice too. As a first-time traveler, what do you recommend after Japan reopens? Oh, that's a very tough question. I mean, Japan has so much for everyone, so it's really up to your personal preferences. Like, I mean, I don't know if you are the type who prefers, checking out the geeky stuff in Akihabara, or if you rather travel to the rural parts and experience, great emptiness and amazing nature. So it's, you have everything here. So if you're a little bit more, if you can ask a little bit more precisely what you're looking for, then I can probably give you a better answer. こんにちは。最近よく動画見てます。あ、こんにちは。For a beer. Thank you. Okay, now I have to find a place to have a beer then. Let's see. Would you be live if it rains? I actually have my umbrella with me, so unless it's like really, really heavy rain, I would probably keep streaming for a while. But we'll see. I'm walking, getting a little bit out of breath. I'm in such bad shape because of this whole quarantine and like not being out as much as I used to, even though I walk a lot. But how's Tokyo for raising children compared to Sweden? Well, that's a tough question. I think there's many things that are really great about raising a child here in Japan. The safety, for example, and also that kids here learn to kind of behave well and respect each other. But on the other hand, I have a feeling that the education system here is a little bit, it's not really encouraging creativity. And to me, that's like a really, really big factor, and the reason why I'm pretty sure that I won't raise my children here. But yeah, there's definitely pros and cons with both, and I'm not really super expert on this subject, so I can't give too much of an answer, I'm afraid. But yeah, the fact also that in Japan it's pretty expensive. You have to pay for schooling, whereas in Sweden everything, including university, is free. So that's also a big reason, or a big plus for Sweden in this case, I think. Let's see. Can you please zoom towards the houses? Would like to see elevations. The houses, like this, or I'm not really sure what it is you want to see, but I will try to focus a little bit more on houses and buildings from now on. Jerin Ahmed says, thanks for all those videos, really helps me feel awesome since I want to go there one day. Thanks for watching. What Japanese beer do you like? I like Sapporo there. Yeah, Sapporo is great. I think I prefer Kirin, but I can't really say why. But Sapporo is really nice too. Yeah. Usually I just order whatever they have, like nama biru, like the how do you call it? Beer on tap, and that's usually one of the big brands. Yeah, some people are talking about this raising kids thing, and yes, the fact that there's a lot of problems with bullying here in schools, and especially like since the society is kind of encouraging like conformity, so anything or anyone who stands out is quite likely to face some hardships. So that's also another reason why I don't want to raise kids here, and also the fact that it's just such a like non-diverse environment, and I would prefer that my kids grow up being kind of comfortable and used to being around various different cultures and don't see that as something weird and strange. So yeah. Watching from SG. Where is this? This is near Tamagawa, in the south of Tokyo. Yes, Japanese say the nail that stands out gets the hammer, exactly. And that's kind of, in one sentence, maybe also putting the finger on everything that's wrong with this society, in my opinion. So, yeah. What about healthcare services in Japan? They're decent or quite good, I think. They have this like you need to be enrolled in a health insurance when you live here in Japan. Once you do that, you only have to pay 1/3 of the healthcare cost, or 30% of the healthcare cost. The rest is covered by the health insurance, and it's, from what I've seen, it's a pretty high level of care, and it usually works well, and there's usually not so much like long waiting times or problems with like full hospitals and so on, which is something that we have a lot of in Sweden. But then on the other hand, yeah, as a Swede, I think having to pay for this health insurance is quite steep, even though it's not so expensive. I think it's usually around 10% of your last year's income, which, from what I understand, compared to the US is quite reasonable. But I mean, in Sweden we don't have to pay anything, and we get care subsidized by the government. So coming from that kind of society, I find the health insurance here quite expensive, actually. Okay, let me take a little break here and see what else you are writing. You're near my favorite okonomiyaki restaurant. Oh, really? I don't really know any restaurants. I never come around here to eat, but I will check it out next time I have an okonomiyaki craving then. One thing I really like about Japan is all these very old buildings and storefronts that you can see pretty much everywhere. I find them extremely charming. Yeah, you should give me a tour of this area then. Anytime. Oh, hello, Pim. You had a work study for 3 months at a major college in Tokyo, and kids could not even give a decent presentation or work out why certain events occurred in history. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the sense that I'm getting to. Like, you don't really learn to kind of discuss and argue and draw your own conclusions so much here. It's more about memorizing historical events and the way that they are portrayed in the school books, but it's not so much about like you develop your own skills and in reasoning or how to kind of present your own opinions and so on. I'll message you when I get some time off work. Yeah, sure. You can find you can message me either on Instagram or you can send me an email. If you go to the About page on my YouTube channel, you can find my email address there. So, yeah, please contact me. Let's see, what else? What did you find most odd about Japanese culture when you first moved there? Tough question, but I think this kind of how the society is extremely hierarchical. Is that how you say? Like that you're always, need to know which position you're in compared to the person you're interacting with, because that affects the way you speak, what you can say, how you should behave, and so on. That's also a very, very strong contrast compared to what things are like back home in Sweden, where basically you talk the same way to your boss as you do to your best friends. So Sweden is very flat, and in that sense Japan is extremely pretty much the opposite. So that was a pretty big culture shock. Another thing was that I feel that despite the society being so strict in so many ways, I also feel that in Japan, like when you're not in a professional setting, then you are like allowed to do whatever you want. Like people aren't maybe as judgmental in some ways as they are back home. Like for example, I feel that a lot of the people I know here who are the same age as me, like mid-30s, many of them have like really kind of quirky hobbies and interests, and that's completely fine here in Japan. Like whether it's like being a obsessive Pokemon Go player or like a collector of anime figures or someone who spends your days off playing Dance Dance Revolution at a game center. Like those things are kind of perfectly fine here, whereas if you are like that in Sweden, then I think a lot of people would be a little bit more kind of judgmental towards you, and maybe some would label you as childish and immature. Okay, let's see. Let's catch up with the chat here. Do you think men in Japan have more pressure to be masculine and women feminine? Definitely yes, compared to Sweden, especially definitely women are pressured to be more feminine here for sure. About men and masculinity, maybe not. I don't think that's such a strong norm here. I think that's probably more of a norm in the West to have, strong masculine men than here in Japan. But it really depends. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with what I just said, because I think it really depends on what context you're in and what kind of people you're around, and it's probably also a big difference, like if you grow up in the countryside of Japan as opposed to the middle of Tokyo. So yeah, it's a very tricky question. But yeah, women and girls always have to be cute or pretty, and that's definitely true. It's very kind of sexist society in that sense, like when it comes to how women are expected to to be and behave. I would love to see countryside Japan drive. Okay, maybe some other channel. I don't have a driver's license, so you won't see that here. I notice a lot of female Japan YouTubers are single and live alone. That's true. Someone asked about the safety of in Japan, and I think Japan is generally quite safe. There's a widespread problem with certain kind of like sexual abuse, and like groping on the trains is very widespread here. But other than that, I think Japan is a relatively safe country for women. But again, it really depends on what you compare it with, I guess. And yes, Pim says that men are seen as the de facto provider for families. That's definitely true. As a man, you are expected to support your family financially. So in that sense, definitely. But I don't really feel that goes much hand in hand with the rest of the whole masculine kind of ideal. But of course, yeah, men are definitely expected to support their families financially and be able to do that for as long as they live, essentially. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why they're struggling so much with the birth rate in this country, because these days those kind of employments that are safe and stable and pays enough to actually support a family, those kind of employments are getting quite rare here in Japan now. So don't they have all women's train in rush hour? They have women's cars, women only cars, usually one car or two cars in the end of the train that are only for women during like a couple of hours every day during the worst peak rush hour. So yes, they have that, which I guess somewhat helps, but I feel that it's very sad that it's such a widespread problem that they need to go that far in order to provide a safe environment for female commuters. But yeah. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? Did Japan use 5G now? Yes, they have launched a few 5G networks, and I actually just got myself a 5G phone, but it does not support the network or the SIM card that I'm currently using. I'm still stuck on 4G. Is there a Christian community in Tokyo? I think so. Yeah, there's actually churches in most parts of Tokyo. If you look for them, you can find them. But you don't really see like Christians or like Christianity in the everyday life that much here, except from time to time. You have some kind of people promoting some Christian propaganda, usually in like crowded places like Shibuya and Shinjuku. They stand with like yellow and black signs saying something about Jesus and Christ, and I never really figured out exactly where they're from, but we see them every now and then. And then of course also Jehovah's Witness are quite common here, and they are we see them very often actually. I think they stopped like knocking on people's doors these days, but they are often handing out like pamphlets in front of stations and major areas of the city. Oh, it's a shrine. So actually now I really don't know where I am or where I'm heading. This area is very is quite unknown to me, but let's check it out. Do you suffer from discrimination, because of the Gaijin thing? Not really. I mean, I've been denied apartments because I'm a foreigner, which I guess everyone have experienced if you lived here long enough and you've been looking for an apartment. But other than that, surprisingly little. Most people are nice. I mean, I rarely feel that I have any disadvantages because of my nationality or ethnicity living here in Japan. If you decide to move here, you have to understand that you will never ever be accepted as an equal. That's just not gonna happen. You will never be seen as someone with the same abilities and rights and opportunities as someone who is born here. Which is very different from what I'm familiar with back home. And at least back in Sweden, there's at least this universal idea that everybody has the same value, and if you are a resident of Sweden, then you have more or less the same rights, no matter where you're from. But of course, there's a lot of racism and discrimination in Sweden and in Europe as well. But the main difference, I would say, is that in Sweden, we, at least most people, agree on this basic idea that everybody should have the same rights and the same opportunities. Whereas here in Japan, that does not really exist. I don't think many Japanese people would agree to that foreigners who are long-term residents of Japan should have the same rights as Japanese people. I don't think people here agree with that, and I don't think people here even see it as exceptional in any way to think like that. So that's a big difference. And also, right now, for example, I'm a long-term resident of this country. I have family here. I'm married to a Japanese. But if I leave Japan, I will not be allowed to come back to Japan. Whereas a person with a Japanese passport or a Japanese national, they are. So despite the fact that I'm living here, I'm contributing to society, I'm paying taxes, I do all those things that I should be doing as a part of this society. I still don't have the fundamental right to come and go as I please. So that's a pretty upsetting thing right now. Are there still royalists in Tokyo? I think so. I mean, most people here are big fans of the emperor and the empress family. They're very, very popular here. And I can't say that I heard many Japanese ever complain about the emperor or saying anything that implies that they think that there shouldn't be an emperor. So yeah, definitely. Integration is a European idea. In Spain we accept foreigners, Spaniards, yeah, exactly. In Japan, not so much. They don't accept foreigners as Japanese, or as, on the same level as Japanese people. But that being said, there's also a lot of benefits not having to deal with a lot of the annoying parts of the Japanese society and culture that are kind of mandatory for Japanese people. So, like, for example, when I go on a work trip and I do an interview with some kind of important person or whatever, then if I don't address them correctly, if I don't use the correct, politeness level when I talk to them, no one really cares. No one's getting like offended or upset about that. Whereas that would be like major sin if I was a Japanese person. So there's things like that. There's also a lot of opportunities, and especially like in my professional career as a photographer, I've gotten tons and tons of opportunities because I am a foreigner here, because I have a different worldview and I can see the country and the society from a different perspective than most Japanese people. That has opened a lot of opportunities for me. So that's also kind of important to keep in mind. And for me, I would say that the benefits probably outweighs the negatives. But make no mistake, it can be a very frustrating experience to live here and to have to deal with these things and think about these things on a daily basis. Especially when I have a bad day, I can get really grumpy and feel like, I'm so fed up with living here. But then I, the next day I think about everything that's great about living here, and I tend to, smile and relax a little bit and realize that I have a pretty comfortable life here after all. Yeah, don't get me started on the formal forms of speaking Japanese in the workplace. It's very confusing. I thought hafu was a neutral term. Depends. I mean, it is, maybe. In a way, I wouldn't say that it's like... It can be used as just describing someone who is mixed race, but I think the word half, it in itself implies that, there's something missing. You're not entirely, you're not really a Japanese. And I know that some people kind of are quite critical to using that word for that reason, that it kind of implies that there's something missing, something is less than full or less than 100%. So let's see. As Japanese, we can always play the foreigner card. Yeah, we can, and I think we should, as long as we don't get the same rights, then I don't see any problem in using my differences as a advantage either. Where are you going right now? I don't know. This might be interesting for you actually. This is a kind of typical Japanese, how should I say, like lower income housing. It's often built and maintained by the local authorities as opposed to a private sector. So these kind of buildings are often a bit cheaper in rent, and sometimes they're also limited to just people from a certain income bracket, but I don't know if that's always the case. And it's very typical, they always have these numbers on the facade, danchi, exactly. Um, so, and actually, I often feel that these areas are quite nice because they're often very green. They make a lot of space reserved for like greenery, which is not something you can take for granted in more modern apartments here in Japan. Um, so, I mean, obviously it's pretty old and maybe not in the best shape, this kind of this house, but yeah, I like that they have this kind of green inner yard for the residents. That's something we often have in Sweden as well, but it's not so common in more modern Japanese housing, because just space and land is so expensive. So why waste precious land area on greenery when you can have squeeze more people in there and make a bigger profit, right? Are there many unmarried mothers in Japan, and if so, does the government help? I don't think the government help much. I mean, of course there are aid you can get if you're struggling to make ends meet, but I don't really know what the criteria are to get that, and how being a single mother, if that kind of changes the thing, changes the factors and makes it maybe easier to get support if you have to raise a child. It's possible, but I don't really know how that works. So let's see. One thing that's always a bit problematic when I do these live walks is that I'm not able to use Google Maps. So if I get lost, I'm lost. But I pretty much know that if I keep on walking this way, I will eventually hit a place called Izumi Tamagawa, which is a train station on the Odakyu line. And from there I can actually catch a bus back home. And on my way there I still hope I can find a place where I can grab a beer. But yeah, we'll see about that. You would think for a country with lowering population the government would help single parents. Not really. I don't really feel that that's a priority, and it's very odd. And like, for example, giving birth here in Japan is very expensive. I mean, it costs like a few $1,000s equivalent. You do get some support from the government, but even with that support, you usually have to pay a few $1,000s out of your own pocket, at least here in Tokyo. And to me, that seems like such a waste. Like, that would be such a simple thing to subsidize, and that would immediately affect the, support the thing that Japan needs the most right now, which is more babies. You're walking through government apartment housing, safe in Japan. In the USA, don't think of doing that. Well, yeah, I mean, Japan is safe, and USA seems very unsafe. So that's definitely a big advantage of living here. You can feel safe pretty much everywhere. Any tax allowance for children? I think parents here get government support. Don't know how much, but I think it's like roughly 10,000 yen, or that's what, $100 every month. But I don't know exactly how much. But there's something like that. Yeah, you have to pay for everything here. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I still have the impression that Japan is much better than the US in that sense. Like that there's, you do get quite a few things supported by the government, and yeah, like for example the whole healthcare thing and the cost of education. I mean, it's expensive here, but it seems like in the US it's on a completely different level, and really just something that those who are well off can afford. Oh, it's starting to rain now. Children sound expensive in Japan. Yeah, probably. I think the most expensive thing is probably having housing big enough to, provide a good environment for them. I mean, I've been to a lot of Japanese families' houses, and I often feel that it's way too crammed. Like they many times live in tiny apartments here in Tokyo, and have a kid or two, and it's maybe just a 2-bedroom apartment, and everything is very crammed, and there's like stuff from the floor to the ceiling, and not much space for the kids to play. So, but yeah. But then again, I mean, if you need more space, you can always move out to the countryside where housing is extremely cheap. So that's always an option, I guess. Our apartment is like a rabbit cage. Yeah. I've been living in quite a few shoeboxes myself as well since coming here. Right now, actually, me and my wife have a pretty decently sized place, so I'm very, very happy about that. Does everyone park their cars backed in? Yeah, pretty much. Japanese people always do that. Oh, rain is picking up. Move to Hachioji, it's cheaper. Yeah, for sure. But then you have to spend more time on the crowded train, which is debatable if that's worth it or not. Countryside tend to lack the proper facilities and jobs nowadays. Yeah, of course. But hopefully this whole situation we're in right now, and the rise of telework or telecommuting, might actually have a positive impact on that in the long run. At least that's what I'm hoping. There's something positive coming out of this. Yeah, in Hong Kong we call our flats pigeonholes. Yeah, that's true. Hong Kong apartments are super tiny. Could you tell us a little bit about prices, especially housing prices? I actually have a video about that specifically. So if you look at my channel, you can probably find it. It should be posted maybe about a month ago. So where I talk a lot about how much it costs to live here and so on. So yeah, please take a look at that. I'm gonna take out my umbrella. Whew. It's rainy, it's hot, it's humid, it's sticky, I'm sweating. Do you think your experience with the whole integration is the absolute same case for all the foreigners? No, I don't think so. I mean, let's see. Hello, green ugly umbrella. There we go. Okay. It depends, and I mean, I know that those people who really put in the effort to really integrate as much as they can, and they learn, really great Japanese. Maybe they have some skill in like some Japanese art or traditional crafts. Like if you really dedicate yourself and if you really want to become, someone like that, then the Japanese will love you. Like you will get, for example, I know there's one Swedish guy who knows a lot about Japanese tea, and he also speaks very good Japanese, and he's like pretty much a celebrity over here. Like he's often on TV, he's released a few books in Japanese, and he seems to have like a really big fan base. He does all these like tea tasting events everywhere, and if you really want to dedicate yourself to something like that, if you have like a really strong Japanese passion, then definitely go for it, and I'm pretty sure it will pay off. So that's one way. But then again, I mean, he is getting probably a lot of his success is due to the fact that he's a foreigner who does these things. If he was just another Japanese tea person, then he would probably have a much harder time standing out. So again, that's coming back to this kind of like positive aspects of the discrimination that we have here. Okay, let's see. You're drinking matcha tea right now. Nice. Nice. Let's try this way. So I am lost, but that's all fine. I think I'm heading in the right direction anyway. If anyone plans to live here, just know that you need to be strong mentally to deal with the culture of Japan, but you can have a nice life here if you try. Yeah, that's definitely true. Are you able to go to Sweden yet? Nope, not. I'm able to go there, but I'm not able to come back to Japan if I do. Another thing I like about Tokyo is that even though I'm still in Tokyo, there's like farms and stuff here. That's quite nice. Do you know the reason why Japan is not burying their wires? He's talking about these electrical wires. I don't really know why. I mean, it's probably a cost reason to it, and maybe it also has something to do with all the earthquakes and that wires can get torn if they are buried, but I really don't know. I'm just speculating now. But more than anything, I'm guessing that it's just a cost thing. Like who should pay for it if they did? Should it be the government? And if so, maybe they feel that their money is better spent elsewhere. I don't know. But I agree. It's a shame. Like Japan would be so much more beautiful if there wasn't all these poles everywhere. Even though, yeah, they can be kind of charming sometimes as well. What are you more afraid of, bicycle riders or cars in Japan? Bicycle riders. At least cars, they have like a set of rules that they're all following. But when it comes to bikes, there's no rules whatsoever, or there are, but people just don't care about them. So that's very annoying. So let's see. Someone asked me what I do. Photographer and journalist. Some of you are answering for me. Thank you. Sorry, the stream got interrupted, and I am struggling to figure out how to. There we go. Okay. Do you think there will be mandatory vaccines in Japan? No idea, really, if it will be mandatory or not. But yeah. Let's see. How often does those earthquake occurs? It's, I don't know. I often feel that it's kind of coming in waves. Like you can have like half a year without a single earthquake, and then you have like one every week for like a month sometimes. But yeah, it's really like very unpredictable. No one really knows when the next one will occur, and they keep saying that a really big devastating earthquake is expected to hit Tokyo sometime soon, and that it's kind of like 30 years overdue. But so far Tokyo is still standing. Is it really expensive to travel to Japan now? When you travel there first, some cheaper ways you can use. If it's expensive or not really depends on where you're coming from. But I mean, there's tons of articles explaining like the cost of certain things in Japan. But for me as a Swede, comparing to Sweden, and also from my experience traveling in Europe, I don't think Japan is particularly expensive. Quite the other way around, actually. Many things are cheaper here than in Europe, especially like eating and drinking out. Yes, the giant earthquake that still needs to show up. The news always props that one up a lot. Yep. Well, I mean, I think it's good. The people, we need to be prepared. We need to know how to react when it happens. But at the same time, yeah, who knows when it's gonna happen, right? Experienced any earthquake in Japan? Yeah, many. I was here 2011 when the big earthquake struck, and that was like the most scary one I've ever experienced, and I thought I was going to die, even though it wasn't actually that strong here in Tokyo, but it's still like the strongest I've ever felt. But yeah, you don't need to tip in Japan. Yeah, you don't need to tip. The tipping is very uncommon here. They probably just think that you don't know how to count if you pay too much. Yeah, do your research before traveling, and Japan is actually not that expensive. Not so expensive that everybody's kind of like, there's so many articles and stories about how Tokyo is like the most expensive city in the world, yada. But to be honest, I really think that New York, London, Paris are way more expensive for my lifestyle than Tokyo. So don't really believe that hype. So over here you can see the Tama River. That's a tiny little piece of water. You can see there. We will get a better look of it soon. And I am almost at the Izumi Tamagawa station. Now show your face. Nah, not yet. Is there a problem with European men moving to Japan to find a Japanese wife? I don't know. I don't really understand the question. Problem to who, in what sense? I don't know. I am a European man who moved to Japan and found a Japanese wife, but if there's anything problematic about that, I'm yet to find out, I guess. Paris and London are by far more expensive. Paris is always a disappointment. Yeah, I kind of agree. European cities are super expensive. Even things like housing. I mean, you can easily find cheap apartments here in Tokyo, which is not true for most European major cities. In Europe, it's usually extremely expensive or you're homeless. Whereas here, yeah, there's a lot of cheap apartments. They're usually pretty shitty and perhaps not the place where you will enjoy your life that much, but still, like, if your main concern is just having a place to sleep that is, dry and warm, and where you can prepare some food and fulfill your hygienic needs, then yeah, you can live quite cheap here in Tokyo. And actually that's pretty much what I was doing the first couple of years. I was living in share houses where I could rent a room for like 60,000 yen, 50,000 yen, so yes, $500-600. And I mean, I don't really think you can find a place that cheap in most European cities. And these were places that were still very centrally located and reasonably clean and fresh. So yeah, it's not so bad. But of course, if you want to live in an apartment with kind of Western standard in terms of size and insulation and everything, then it's a bit expensive, but still not as expensive as in many, like in London or Paris. Beautiful suburban place. Yeah, I really like this riverbed. It's actually a very nice area. I often come here, ride my bicycle here. Like, you can follow this river for like kilometers. I don't know how many kilometers, like 20-ish, 30 maybe, until you get to the mountains. Like, it's really nice. Let's see, best time to come to Japan, October or May. Yeah, I agree with that. Those are good months. April, November isn't bad either. Even December. January, February can be kind of cold and gloomy. And the summer, like right now and until late September, is usually pretty awful. Someone seems very eager to know more about my personal details. I don't really see any need of getting into that. I mean, I've disclosed quite a bit about myself and who I am to those who have followed me a while here on this channel. So that's enough for now. Lots of water here to jump. Okay. Cute dog playing with a frisbee. I'm not really concerned about like my own privacy so much. It's more like that I don't know. I don't want that to be kind of the main thing. I want this channel to be more about Japan than about me. Would you find in Japan that people would stop what they're doing to help you if you ask? It's a tough one. Some people would, but also a lot of people would just ignore you. It really depends on the severity. I think it's quite common, like if you stand in front of a map looking lost, you're quite likely to have someone come up to you and ask you if you need help. if they see that you're a foreigner. But on the flip side, I heard so many stories from like female friends of mine who have been like groped on the train, and they've been like calling out the person and like screaming and shouting, and everybody just flat out ignored them. So yeah, I think people here are very, very reluctant to put themselves and others into uncomfortable situations. So if it's about helping someone like in a way that can't cause any sort of discomfort to anyone, then people are generally very helpful here. But I'm not sure how helpful people would be if something really serious happened, as you know, if someone started to get violent towards you on the train or something, then I'm not sure. Hi, where is this? This is the Tama River. There are some love hotels on the other side of the river. Azad. I wonder if that's named after the dictator in Syria. Tama River. This station over here is called Izumi Tamagawa. It's on the Odakyu line. This bridge is, I don't really know what it's called. Has the rain stopped? Nope. Not yet. Oh, it's really a bit difficult to get around here. Raised land to prevent flooding. Yes, this bank here is to prevent these houses from being flooded. And actually this river here has flooded many times throughout history, quite severely, and it did last time was last year, when actually some people got their houses flooded, and there was even one person who died close to Tamagawa. So yeah, floods are a big problem, and right now the western parts of Japan are suffering a lot. They had like some really severe floods a week or two ago, and it's been raining there a lot there the last couple of days as well, so I think it's pretty bad. Odakyu-san, yeah, that's the Odakyu line train. I really like this bridge actually, and I really like this area. I like how open it is, and that you can see a lot of sky, which is not just blocked by buildings everywhere. That's kind of like a luxury here in Tokyo, to have that sense of freedom. I am not wearing gumboots. I am wearing very inappropriate sneakers that are zero water resistant. What do families usually do on weekends for recreation? Good question. I think there's all kinds of families. I mean, some neighbors of ours, they're a family with 2 kids. They seem to go on camping trips every weekend, but I think that's kind of rare. My impression is that a lot of people here are so exhausted from the work week, so they don't have much energy to do things on the weekend really. And I guess the national recreational activity in this country is shopping, as in many other developed Asian nations, and the West too for that matter. But I mean, there's lots of nature, there's lots of hiking trails in the mountains an hour west from Tokyo, and those hiking trails are usually quite crowded on the weekends. There's beaches as well, which are quite popular in the summer months. So there's a little bit for everyone. Tall building on the right. This is apartment. Quite old one, but they must have a nice view. It's just standing here next to the river. When does the rainy season over? It's supposed to end pretty soon, maybe next week. What are the chances of Olympics being held next year? I'm extremely skeptical. I don't think there will be any Olympics next year, but we will see. This was a funny one my wife came up with. How many shoes does he go through? So much walking every day. Yeah, I don't know. I'm the kind of person who buys one pair of shoes and wears it until those falls apart. So this is actually my second pair. These are just like a month old. I had exactly the same shoes before, and I really like them. They're super lightweight and very comfortable. The only thing is that they're pretty useless when it rains. I think I do have like some hiking shoes hidden in a wardrobe back home somewhere as well, but I never really use them. So what I will do is I will cross this bridge and then I will go to this building there. There's actually a Norwegian coffee shop called Fuglen there, which is really nice. And I think they also have some Norwegian beer and they have seats outdoors. So I will go there and grab something to drink, and then I will probably also wrap this live stream up, because I have been doing this for 1 hour and 15 minutes now, and my data plan is not that generous, so I want to be able to do at least one more stream before the end of this month. So let's see. I've been following this guy for quite a while now. Maybe I should just pass him. Feeling a bit like a creep to just stalk someone like that. You're using DJI off Small Pocket for the offline walks, yes. I read that the battery is built for just 400 recharges. Is that an issue? Yeah. Everything with built-in batteries have a similar issue, I guess. And 400 cycle sounds extremely low, but we'll see. So far I haven't noticed any degradation. You must be very fit. Not really. My belly is still way bigger than it should be. I like to eat. And actually the TV show that we were recording last week up in the northern parts of Japan, there's I'm not sure if I'm gonna share it with you once it goes live, because there's actually a scene in there where I'm taking a dip at an onsen and I feel a bit uncomfortable about my body in that sense. So maybe I will you know what, I will share the link to my patrons, so if you want to watch it you have to follow me on Patreon. That's how we'll do it. Patreon supported, yeah. Yeah, I promise I will share the link with my patrons. So I think by now I should have walked about 6 kilometers, or is it 8? I don't remember, from Tamagawa to here, but it's somewhat far. Maybe I should walk all the way back home after this as well. Blackmail. And actually it looks a little bit like the river is a little bit higher than it usually is, and it's very kind of muddy, so there's probably been a bit of flooding further upstream. Are people allowed to fish at the river? I think so, because I often see people do, and I don't think they would if it's not allowed. People here tend to follow rules. You pick up extra pounds when Tokyo was placed under emergency because of cold. Yeah, I think so. I was staying home a lot, and I did try to go out for a walk every day and a bike ride. I often came around here actually, staying away from people. I think I lost weight. My wife told me that my belly got smaller, so I think I actually might have lost weight, which is weird. I always gain weight when I go back to Sweden, especially if I do it in the winter. Then it's really, really dangerous. But in general, I think I eat relatively healthy food here in Japan, which helps. Although I like the food here so much, so I eat maybe a little bit too much of it. But still, I think it's a pretty healthy lifestyle that I have here compared to maybe in Sweden. I don't think I would walk this much if I lived in Sweden, actually. Just take the bus from the station. Yeah, I rarely take the bus. I usually, if I come here, I usually bike. Beer belly, yeah. Do you and your wife go walking? Not really. She's, we do, but usually shorter walks. She's not much of a long walker like me. Like 15 minutes or half an hour is fine, but like walking this far for no obvious reason probably is a bit weird to her, so she will probably laugh at me when I tell her how far I went today. You're now entering Kanagawa Prefecture. Well spotted. Yes, now I am not in Tokyo anymore. I am indeed in Kanagawa, in Kawasaki City. Looks pretty much the same though. Maybe a little bit grayer and more boring. Is she from Japan? My wife? Yes, she's Japanese. She's playing baseball. Always go to the 109 cinema near here. Oh really? I didn't even know that there's a 109 cinema. I rarely go to the cinema, to be honest. Maybe once every 2 years or something on average. I used to watch a lot of movies when I was living back in Sweden, but here in Tokyo I just feel that everything else is so exciting, so I never just sit down and watch a movie for 2 hours. I don't feel I have the time to do that. Cinema is a cinema. Yeah, I think he meant the cinema. Welcome to the channel of Kanagawa Explorer. No, that doesn't sound right. So we travel a lot together. She's also a photographer like me, so before all this happened we used to travel a lot, both within Japan and abroad, and we can stay up catching the sunrise together to get like the perfect shot of Mount Fuji, for example, and those kind of things is more like the kind of activities that we enjoy doing together. And when we're traveling, we also walk a lot, but I mean, she's from Tokyo, and I guess it's just not so exciting for her to go on long walks here. 日本人はいますか？いません。In Japan, are foreign films shown in cinema dubbed in Japanese? Yes and no. You can usually choose. They usually have both options. Is Kanagawa known for love hotels and stuff? Kanagawa is it's the second largest prefecture in Japan. So there's like all kinds of places here. But right now we are in Kawasaki, which is kind of a city with a pretty bad reputation. It's kind of a working class city, even though we're very, very far from central Kawasaki right now. But still, it's definitely like one step down on the socio-economic ladder on this side of the river, as opposed to being over there. How much is a movie ticket in Japan? Since I rarely go to the cinema, I don't know. Maybe J Japan knows. Oh, enjoy a drink. Thank you. It stopped raining. Woohoo! Excellent. Is Kawasaki part of Tokyo? No, it's a different city and a different prefecture. But in theory, it feels like just another suburb or another part of Tokyo. And I mean, from here you can take a train and you will be in Shinjuku, which is like very much the heart of Tokyo, and you can be there in like maybe 20 minutes. So it's still like relatively close to the city center. There's some people doing barbecue, which is quite common here along the riverbed in the summer months. どこまで歩いて予定ですか？そろそろ終わると思います。もう1時間半ぐらい散歩したからちょっと疲れている。Technically Greater Tokyo area. Yeah. Lol, why the title? It was a really boring day. You know those kind of days where you just feel that everything is super boring. The weather, everything is gray. Your life feels really boring. It's just like meh. It felt like that when I posted and when I announced this live chat. But now after walking with all of you for an hour and a half, I'm in a much better mood, and actually the sky's a little bit bluer as well, so maybe it's not so appropriate anymore. Maybe I should rename this once I'm done. If you are married with a local, why can't you leave and go back to Japan? Because only Japanese nationals are allowed to leave and come back to Japan. Even if I am married to a Japanese, I don't have the same rights as a Japanese national. That is why. Okay, rainy weather is the best. Maybe. I'm not too fond of it. $18 for a movie ticket? Yeah, that sounds about right. It's probably expensive because space is so expensive here, and building a cinema takes a lot of space, so then obviously that's reflected in the ticket prices. How about foreign Japanese? I think if you're a Japanese citizen, you are okay. But even if you have like permanent residency, you are not allowed to come back. So there's actually thousands and thousands of people right now who are stuck abroad with maybe apartments here in Tokyo that they have to pay for. They have jobs that they don't know when they can come back to, and the government is basically not giving any shit at all about these people. So that is pretty sad. Makes me quite skeptical about how much I want to invest of my own future in a country like this, that you can't really expect to get anything back. So I will probably wrap things up here, or no, I will buy a drink first. I will just put my phone down here outside and leave you guys. So this is Japan, so it's very safe. I can even leave the phone like this when I go and order, and I will be back very soon. Okay. So actually there was some like dodgy types, so I will pick up this thing after all. Let's see. Italian ginger soda. Okay, I'm back with a cold drink. They didn't have any beer here. That's such a disappointment. So I got this, what is this? Italian ginger soda. Nice legs, thank you. And I actually think I messed up my gimbal, so the rest of the video will be handheld. Let's see. Okay. Loving the stream. Sorry, I mean this stream is very messed up. I think my gimbal broke, and I just leave the phone on the table for you. And I'm not even drinking beer, just Italian ginger soda. But yeah, anyway, cheers! Kampai, and thanks for joining me today. It's rainy, but what's the temperature out there? It's very warm. It's like, I think, close to 30 degrees right now. I'm sweating like a pig. But yeah, that's what it's gonna be like now for the coming 2 months at least. So, well, not much to do about that. Kanpai. 楽しそうでいいな。ありがとうございます。Chaotic stream is fun. Thank you. I'm glad that you guys enjoy this. I could do this every day, to be honest. I really enjoy doing this very random live streams. It's fun and somewhat therapeutic. 歩き疲れてちょっと休憩。そうですね。今ちょっと休憩。 So yeah, I will just sit here and film the road for you while I'm relaxing. No, but thanks a lot for watching, and I hope it was somehow interesting for you to see what this boring area on a boring day with a boring person is like. And as always, I'm very grateful that so many of you keep watching these streams and the videos that I'm posting. And I think I told some of you that I had to kind of downscale the number of videos I post on the channel because I'm getting a little bit busy, and it looks like I might have a very interesting job coming up that will require me to travel a lot to other parts of Japan soon, and it seems even that those people who I'm negotiating with right now, they might even want me to keep posting on my YouTube while I'm doing those travels, because I told them that guys, last month over 1 million people watched my YouTube videos, and that was something that made them very impressed. So I think they want to showcase their part of the country as well to all of you, and I'm super excited. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that this project will happen, because that will be super exciting for me, and it will also pay me a little bit, so then I don't have to bug you all about joining my Patreon, and it will also be able to make me able to post different kinds of content on my channel, not just walks in Tokyo, but I hope to make a little bit more. Like, I don't want to deviate too much from the original concept, but at the same time I would like to make videos that are a little bit more informative maybe. So yeah, hopefully that will happen very soon. And I think I will wrap up very soon, but unless some of you didn't notice, I actually have Instagram page now, which is let's see, can I post that link? No, not really. I will post the link to my Instagram on the community page of my YouTube channel as soon as this stream ends. So if you want to follow me there, please do so. Then you get a chance to see a little bit of my photography as well, which is actually what I do mostly for a living, but that I am not really sharing much of it here on the YouTube channel. So yeah, and don't turn into only in Japan. No, I won't. I mean, I don't want to like hate on him. Like, I think he does a great job, but yeah, it's not really what I want to do. So I will try to keep my channel in my way, and with my slightly just less energetic personality as the maybe defining factor. Do you need to have a dual citizenship to live in Japan? No, you don't. Facebook, no. No Facebook yet. But Instagram, I will post a link to my community page in 5 minutes. But yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much. I think if you search for Tokyo Explorer, you should find my Instagram page, and it's the same icon that I have on the YouTube channel. But if not, I will post a link as well. So yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. And see you all soon again. Bye. Ha en bra dag.